1 week later, Catherine Sterling's BMW flipped 3 times before slamming into the embankment. Glass exploded outward in a glittering spray. Metal shrieked as the roof crumpled like aluminum foil. The car landed upside down, tires spinning uselessly against the night sky. Jamie Washington ran through hurricane rain that felt like needles against his skin. His janitor uniform clung to his body, soaked through in seconds. His left leg, the one with shrapnel still buried deep in the bone, screamed with every step. 12 years since Fallujah. The limp never went away. The BMW was smoking. Gas leak. He could smell it even through the downpour, that sickeningly sweet petroleum stench that meant seconds, not minutes. Inside the crushed vehicle, a woman hung upside down from her seatbelt, unconscious, blood streaming from a gash on her forehead running up into her blonde hair because gravity worked backward now. Her chest rose and fell in shallow, desperate gasps. 10 seconds. That's all the time physics would give him before the spark found the fuel. Jamie's hands moved on pure instinct, muscle memory from a decade of Navy corpsman training that his body would never forget even if his mind wanted to. Check pulse, assess injuries, extract. The holy trinity of battlefield medicine. He reached through the shattered driver's side window, ignoring the glass that sliced his forearm. Her pulse was weak but steady under his fingertips, breathing shallow, pupils uneven when he forced her eyelids open with his thumb. Possible concussion. Neck brace would be ideal. No time for ideal. The seatbelt was jammed. Jamie yanked hard enough to feel something tearing at his shoulder. Nothing. The mechanism had twisted in the crash metal, warped beyond function. 5 seconds. Flames licked at the hood, small but growing fast. Orange light reflected in the rainwater, pooling on the asphalt. He pulled out his pocket knife, military issue, carried it for 12 years, the handle worn smooth from his grip. The blade sliced through the seatbelt fabric in one clean stroke. The woman dropped into his arms. Dead weight, maybe 130 pounds, light by combat standards, but Jamie wasn't 25 anymore. He was 38 with a bad leg and 2 jobs that left him running on 4 hours of sleep most nights. He threw her over his shoulder in a fireman's carry and ran. 10 steps, 20, his leg threatened to give out. 30 steps. The old wound felt like someone was driving a railroad spike through his knee with every footfall. Boom! The explosion lifted them both off the ground. Jamie twisted midair instinct again. Protect the principal. That's what they drilled into him in field training and took the impact on his back when they hit the mud. His hand cradled her head, absorbing the shock that would have cracked her skull against the ground. They landed hard. Jamie's ears rang. His back felt broken. His leg was definitely re-injured. The pain was a white-hot supernova that threatened to drag him under. Didn't matter. Nothing mattered except the fact that the woman was breathing. He rolled off her, carefully checked her pulse again. Still there, still fighting. Behind them, the BMW was a fireball. Black smoke poured into the storm. Whatever had been inside that car, document, phone, laptop, her entire life. Probably it was ash now. The woman's eyes fluttered open. Rain hit her face. She blinked, confused, struggling to focus. Jamie held up 3 fingers in front of her face. Standard concussion protocol. Ma'am, can you hear me? How many fingers am I holding up? Her lips moved. No sound at first, then barely audible over the storm. 3. Good. What's your name? Catherine. Kate. Her voice cracked on the words. What? What happened? Your car crashed, exploded. You're alive because God's got plans for you that aren't finished yet. She tried to sit up. He stopped her gently but firmly, one hand on her shoulder. Easy. Possible concussion. Don't move too fast. I need to check you for spinal injuries. Are you a doctor? No, ma'am. His voice was gentle, respectful. The tone he'd used on dozens of injured Marines who were scared and hurting and needed someone to be calm. Just a janitor, but I know a little first aid. Kate looked past him at the burning wreckage. Her eyes went wide with horror and something else panicked that had nothing to do with physical injury. My briefcase, my laptop. I need... Ma'am, nothing in that car survived. I'm sorry. You don't understand. There were files, important files, evidence of... She stopped herself, awareness creeping back. She didn't know him, didn't know if she could trust him. I understand you're alive, Jamie said simply. That's what matters right now. Everything else we can deal with after. Thunder boomed overhead. The storm was getting worse if that was even possible. The highway stretched empty in both directions. No cars, no help, just rain and darkness and two people who shouldn't have survived the last 5 minutes. We need to get you to a hospital, Jamie said, doing a quick visual assessment. No obvious broken bones, no arterial bleeding, but internal injuries were always a gamble. Kate fumbled for her phone. The screen was spider-webbed with cracks, but somehow still glowing. She tried to unlock it. Failed. Tried again. The touchscreen was dead, responding to nothing. She looked around like she was just now realizing where they were. Deserted highway, middle of a hurricane. No civilization in sight. Hospital's 20 miles south, Jamie said, reading her thoughts. Roads are flooding. I've got a truck right there. He pointed to his Ford F-150, ancient and rusted but still running. I live 10 minutes from here. Let me take you somewhere safe and dry. We can call 911 from there, get you proper medical attention. Kate's instincts screamed danger. Strange man, isolated area. She was helpless, injured, vulnerable. Everything her father had taught her said this was how women ended up on the news as cautionary tales. But his eyes, something in his eyes stopped the refusal before it left her lips. Honest eyes, tired eyes that had seen too much but still close to see the good. Okay, she heard herself say. Jamie helped her stand. She swayed dizzy and he caught her before she fell. His hands were steady, calloused, working man's hands. They made it to his truck. He opened the passenger door, helped her climb in with the same care he'd used with something precious and breakable. Then he jogged around to the driver's side, limping badly now, the adrenaline wearing off enough that his body was sending urgent distress signals. The truck's interior smelled like coffee and old leather, fast food wrappers in the cup holder. A child's drawing taped to the dashboard, stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. The radio was tuned to a gospel station, volume low. Jamie started the engine. The truck coughed once before catching. He pulled back onto the highway, windshield wipers working overtime and barely making a dent in the visibility. Kate watched him drive. His jaw was set with concentration. His hands on the wheel were steady despite everything they'd just been through. Those same hands that had cut her free, carried her to safety, shielded her from the blast. You said you're a janitor, she said, her voice sounding far away even to herself. Shock settling in properly now. Where did you learn first aid like that? Jamie's jaw tightened. He didn't look at her, just kept his eyes on the flooded road. Here and there? The deflection was obvious. He was hiding something. Kate's instincts, the ones that had built an $850 million company, told her this man was more than he appeared to be. But she was too tired to press, too hurt, too overwhelmed by the fact that she'd almost died and probably would have if this stranger hadn't been in the right place at the right time, or wrong place. She still wasn't sure which. 1 week earlier, Morrison Medical Center, Thursday night, 11:47, Jamie Washington pushed his cleaning cart down the empty third-floor hallway. Executive offices. Nobody here this late except security making their rounds and the night cleaning crew. Just him and the fluorescent lights and the chemical smell of industrial floor cleaner. 38 years old, 6'2", shoulders broad from military training he'd never quite shaken. Strong despite the permanent limp in his left leg, souvenir from Fallujah 2014. Navy corpsman. He'd saved 14 Marines that day when the IED went off. Got a Purple Heart and a medical discharge for his trouble. Now he cleaned toilets for $15.50 an hour. No bitterness, just reality. Reality was what you woke up to every morning, and bitterness was a luxury he couldn't afford when there was a little girl depending on him to keep showing up. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Text from Mrs. Patterson, his neighbor in 4B. Lily had a nightmare. She's okay now. Asked about her mama again. Jamie stopped walking, closed his eyes, let the familiar ache settle in his chest where it always lived, right next to his heart. 3 years since Sarah died. Lily had been 5. She was 8 now and barely remembered her mother's face, except in photographs. He texted back, "Thank you, Mrs. P. I'll be home by 2:30. Then back at 6 in the morning for his second job. Maintenance at the apartment complex where they lived. Fix leaky faucets, unclog drains, patch drywall. Whatever the landlord needed, whenever he needed it, because rent didn't pay itself and Lily's private school tuition was due the first of every month without fail. $800 a month for elementary school. It gutted his budget, left them eating ramen more nights than not. But the public school in their neighborhood had metal detectors and police officers in the halls, and no child of his was going to learn in a place where she needed to worry about gunfire during math class. $31,500 a year total income, plus what was left of Sarah's life insurance, which was almost gone now. Medical bills from his leg ate whatever the insurance didn't cover. Groceries, utilities, Lily's school. The costs added up like water filling a bucket with holes in the bottom. No matter how much you poured in, you were always running low. But Jamie never complained. You do what you have to do. That's what men do, what fathers do. What his own father had taught him before cancer took him when Jamie was 19. His daddy had worked 3 jobs to keep the family fed. Never complained once. Just showed up every day and did the work because that's what love looked like in action, not words. Sarah had understood that. She'd loved him for it. Said he reminded her of her own father, quiet, steady, the kind of man who built a foundation you could trust to hold even when everything else shook. Then a drunk driver ran a red light and Jamie became the foundation for a little girl who didn't understand why mommy wasn't coming home ever again. He finished the 3rd floor and took the elevator down to the parking garage. His shift ended at 2. Still 4 hours to go. His back ached. His leg throbbed. 45 minutes until his next break, when he could sit down for 10 minutes and eat the sandwich Mrs. Patterson had packed him turkey on white bread, Lily's favorite, so they always had it in the house. The parking garage was quiet, just the hum of ventilation and the distant sound of rain starting to hit the concrete outside. Weather report had said something about a storm coming. Hurricane watch. Jamie made a mental note to check the apartment windows when he got home. One of them didn't seal right. Water got in during heavy rain. He started pushing his cart toward the elevator when he heard it. The click of high heels on concrete. Fast. Urgent. Someone running. Jamie looked up. A woman burst through the stairwell door. Blonde. Maybe 35. Business suit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. She was running full sprint toward a black BMW, fumbling with keys, looking over her shoulder like something was chasing her. Nothing was chasing her. Just fear. She reached her car, dropped the keys, bent to pick them up. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely grip them. Jamie moved closer, not threatening, just concerned. This was someone in distress, and his training, military and medical, wouldn't let him ignore it. "Ma'am, you okay?" She spun around. Her eyes were wild, terrified. She looked at him, saw his janitor uniform. His dark skin registered him as potential threat for half a second before some other calculation happened, and she just looked desperate instead. "I'm fine, thank you." She wasn't fine. Jamie had seen enough trauma victims to recognize the signs. Shallow breathing, dilated pupils, tremor in the hands. This woman was running from something, and whatever it was, she thought it was right behind her. "You shouldn't be driving if you're upset," he said gently. "Can I call someone for you?" "No, no one. I just need to go." She got the car door open finally, threw herself inside, started the engine. Jamie stepped back, giving her space. Watched her tear out of the parking garage way too fast, tires squealing on the concrete. The BMW fishtailed slightly as she took the turn toward the exit. Something was wrong, very wrong, but it wasn't his business. He'd learned that lesson the hard way in the service. You can't save everyone. You can't fix every problem. Sometimes all you can do is stand witness and hope they make it through whatever storm they're running into. Jamie went back to his cart, finished his shift, clocked out at 2:05, drove home through rain that was just starting to pick up force, the first edge of the hurricane pushing inland. His apartment building was dark except for a few windows. 3rd floor unit, C, home. He unlocked the door as quietly as possible. Didn't want to wake Lily if Mrs. Patterson had gotten her back to sleep. The apartment was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that barely fit 2 people standing. But it was clean. Jamie made sure of that. Military discipline, everything in its place. Beds made every morning, dishes washed every night. Structure and order, those were things he could control even when everything else felt like chaos. Mrs. Rose Patterson sat in his living room recliner reading a paperback romance novel under the lamplight. She was 73, black, grandmother energy that filled whatever room she occupied. She'd been watching Lily since Sarah died, refusing payment beyond the occasional casserole or grocery bill. Said it was what neighbors did, what community meant. Jamie didn't know what he would have done without her. Probably gone under 3 years ago. "How's she doing?" he asked quietly. Mrs. Patterson looked up, marked her page, set the book down. "She's fine now, baby. Just a bad dream. Something about monsters under the bed." She smiled sadly. Asked if her mama was an angel watching over her. I said yes. Hope that was right. "That was perfect, Mrs. P. Thank you. That child needs more than just you, Jamie. I know you're doing your best, but—" "I know." He cut her off gently. Not angry, just tired. They'd had this conversation before. "But I'm what she's got." Mrs. Patterson stood gathering her book and sweater. "You're a good man. Best man I know. But even good men need help sometimes." After she left, Jamie checked on Lily. His daughter was asleep in her small bedroom, surrounded by stuffed animals and drawings she'd made in school. Her nightlight cast stars on the ceiling. She'd insisted on that nightlight after Sarah died. Said she needed the stars to help her remember that Mommy was up in heaven looking down. Jamie knelt beside her, brushed a strand of hair off her forehead. She had Sarah's face, her mother's warm brown eyes and soft features. Looking at her was like looking at a ghost sometimes, but a ghost he was grateful for because at least part of Sarah lived on. "I love you, Lily Bean," he whispered, "more than anything in this world." She stirred but didn't wake, just made a small sound and pulled her favorite stuffed bunny closer. Jamie stayed there for a moment longer, then went to his own bedroom, the one that used to be his and Sarah's, that now felt too big and too empty no matter how long she'd been gone. He set his alarm for 5:30. 4 hours until he had to be up for the maintenance job. 4 hours of sleep. That was the rhythm. Sleep in shifts, work in shifts, parent in between. He laid down but didn't fall asleep right away. His leg ached, his back hurt. He was 38, going on 60 some days. But Lily had a roof over her head, food in her belly, a good school, a father who would walk through fire for her. That was enough. Had to be enough. Outside, the storm was building. Rain hammered against the windows. Thunder in the distance, getting closer. Jamie closed his eyes and tried not to dream of the things he'd lost. Friday morning, Lily Washington sat at the small kitchen table swinging her legs that didn't quite reach the floor, concentrating hard on her drawing. 8 years old. 8 years. Third grade. Smart as a whip and twice as observant. Too observant sometimes. She was drawing a family portrait, crayons spread across the table in organized chaos. The picture showed 3 figures, herself small in the middle, her daddy tall and strong on the left, and on the right a blank space where a person should be. Jamie flipped pancakes at the stove, trying to ignore the fact that half of them were burning. Cooking had never been his strong suit. Sarah had handled that department. He'd handled everything else, fixing things that broke, managing money, making sure the home ran smoothly. They'd been a team. Now he was a solo act, trying to cover all the positions and dropping balls everywhere. "Daddy, you're burning them again." "No, baby. That's called caramelization. It's fancy." "That's called burning. Miss Patterson says you need a wife to help you cook." Jamie's chest tightened. He didn't turn around, just kept flipping pancakes that were definitely burning now. "Miss Patterson talks too much sometimes. She says it's not good for you to be alone, that you're sad even when you smile." Out of the mouths of babes, Jamie plated the pancakes, burnt edges and all, and brought them to the table. Sat down across from his daughter. "What are you drawing, Lily Bean?" She held it up proudly. "Our family. See? That's me, that's you, and that's—" she pointed to the blank space. "That's the spot for someone new." Jamie's throat closed. "Sweetheart, we talked about this. It's just us. And that's okay. We're doing fine." "But you're lonely, I can tell." Her 8-year-old logic was devastating in its simplicity. "And I miss having a mom, not because I don't love you, Daddy, but because families are supposed to have 2 people." Says who? Says everyone at school. They all have moms and dads. Or at least they have someone besides just one person. She looked at her drawing. "I left the space empty because I don't know what she looks like yet. But I'm waiting." Jamie reached across the table and took her small hand in his. You are the smartest, kindest, most wonderful person I know. And I promise you, if the right person comes along, someone who makes our family better, not just bigger, I'll recognize her. But until then, you and me, we're complete. Understand? Lily nodded, but Jamie could see she didn't quite believe him. They ate burnt pancakes with too much syrup. Lily talked about school spelling test on Monday art project, due Wednesday field trip to the Science Museum next month that required a $30 permission slip Jamie was already trying to figure out how to budget for. At 7:30, Jamie walked her the 3 blocks to the bus stop. Other kids waited with their parents. Other parents in business suits heading to office jobs. Other parents who didn't look like they'd gotten 4 hours of sleep and had cleaning chemicals permanently embedded under their fingernails. Jamie stood slightly apart from the group. Not unfriendly, just aware that he didn't quite fit into their world of PTA meetings and weekend soccer practices and summer camps that cost more than his monthly income. The bus came. Lily hugged him tight. I love you, Daddy. I love you more, baby girl. Be good. Learn something. I'll see you at 3. She climbed on the bar, waved from the window. Jamie waved back until the bus turned the corner and disappeared. Then he walked back to the apartment complex, changed into his maintenance uniform, and spent the next 8 hours fixing toilets and replacing air filters and listening to tenants complain about things he couldn't control: rent prices, parking spaces, the quality of the cable TV service. At 3, he picked Lily up from the aftercare program at school. They went home. She did homework while he made dinner spaghetti, one of the 5 things he could cook without burning. They ate together. He helped her study for her spelling test. They watched one episode of a cartoon she liked. Bath time, story time, prayers. God bless Daddy and Miss Patterson and my teachers and my friends, and please tell Mommy I miss her and I hope she's happy in heaven. Jamie tucked her in, kissed her forehead. Sweet dreams, Lily Bean. Daddy, do you think Mommy would want you to be happy? I am happy. I've got you. But happy like before. Happy like in the pictures where you're smiling for real. Jamie didn't have an answer for that, so he just kissed her forehead again and turned off the light, leaving the star nightlight glowing. At 5:30, he left for his night shift at the hospital. Mrs. Patterson was already there, letting herself in with the spare key, settling into the recliner with her book. You work too hard, Jamie. No such thing, just hard enough to keep moving forward. He drove to Morrison Medical Center in the truck that needed new tires and a transmission repair he couldn't afford. Clocked in at 6, started the routine all over again. 3rd floor by midnight, executive offices by 1. At 1:15, Jamie was emptying trash cans in the CEO's office suite when he heard voices, angry voices. He froze, not wanting to interrupt but unable to leave without being noticed. 2 people in the conference room, a man and a woman. The door was ajar. Telling you, Kate, you need to stop looking into this. It's not what you think. Then explain the offshore accounts, Marcus. Explain $47 million in transfers that have no authorization codes. Accounting errors. I'll have our CFO review. You are the CFO, and you're lying to me. Jamie quietly backed away from the door. Not his business, not his place to overhear executive disputes. He moved to the next office, giving them privacy. But he caught one last exchange before he was out of earshot. If you keep digging, Kate, you're going to find things that will destroy everything your father built. Is that what you want? I want the truth. The truth will hurt you more than it hurts me. Trust me on this. Let it go. Silence. Then footsteps. Fast. The woman Kate stormed out of the conference room past Jamie without even seeing him. She headed for the elevators. The man Marcus followed at a slower pace. He noticed Jamie this time, looked at him the way people looked at furniture. Invisible. Beneath consideration. You, janitor. Did you hear any of that? Jamie met his eyes, kept his face neutral. Hear what, sir? Marcus studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Good, keep it that way. What happens in executive offices stays in executive offices. Yes, sir. Marcus walked away. Jamie waited until he was gone before letting out the breath he'd been holding. He'd seen that look before. In the military, in officers who were hiding things, who had secrets they'd protect at any cost. Whatever was happening between Kate and Marcus, it was bigger than accounting errors. But it wasn't Jamie's problem. He had his own problems, like the fact that Lily needed new shoes and the electricity bill was overdue, and his truck was making a noise that promised expensive repairs in the near future. He finished his shift, drove home, slept for 4 hours, woke up and did it all again. Friday night, the storm. By Friday evening, the hurricane warnings had turned serious. Jamie dropped Lily at Mrs. Patterson's at 5:30, kissed her goodbye. "Storm's getting bad," Mrs. Patterson said. "Maybe you should stay home tonight." "Can't. I need the hours." Bills didn't care about hurricanes. He drove to the hospital through rain that was already making the roads dangerous. Clocked in at 6. Started his rounds. By 11, the storm was at full force. Hurricane winds, flooding, power outages across the city. The hospital was running on generators. Jamie worked by emergency lighting. Most people had gone home. Just essential staff. Just the people who couldn't afford not to show up. At midnight, Jamie finished the third floor and headed down to the parking garage. That's when his phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello, Isho. Mr. Washington, this is Morrison Medical Center Security. We need maintenance in the parking garage. Water main burst. It's flooding." "On my way." Jamie grabbed his tools and headed down. The parking garage was a mess, water everywhere. The security guard was trying to shut off the valve but couldn't get enough torque. "Let me help." Jamie applied his weight to the pipe wrench. Between them, they got it shut off. "Thanks, man. I was about to call for backup." "No problem." Jamie was soaked, exhausted. It was 12:30. Another hour and a half until his shift ended and he could go home, strip off these wet clothes, catch a few hours of sleep before starting all over again. He walked back toward the elevator. That's when he heard it. The squeal of tires on wet concrete. Too fast, way too fast. Then the crunch of metal hitting the parking garage barrier. Jamie ran toward the sound. A black BMW, the same one from earlier in the week, had crashed into the concrete wall. The front end was crumpled, steam rising from the hood. The driver slumped over the steering wheel. He pulled the door open. The woman Kate lifted her head, blood on her face, eyes unfocused. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" "I can't. He's trying to. I have to." She wasn't making sense. Concussion symptoms. Jamie quickly assessed no major bleeding airbag had deployed, but she needed medical attention. "Stay still. You're in a hospital. I'm going to get help." "No." She grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. "No hospitals. He'll find me. He'll know. Please. I just I need to disappear." "Ma'am, you need a doctor. I need to leave now before he realizes I survived." Jamie looked into her eyes, saw terror. Real, visceral fear. Whatever she was running from wasn't just in her head. He made a decision and that would change everything. "Okay, come on. My truck's over there. I'll take you somewhere safe." He helped her out of the car. She was shaky, disoriented. He basically carried her to his truck, got her in the passenger seat, came back and grabbed her purse from the BMW. Then he drove out of the parking garage and into the hurricane with a woman he didn't know and a decision he couldn't take back. The rain was biblical now. Jamie could barely see 10 feet in front of the truck. The wipers worked overtime and accomplished nothing. Kate sat in the passenger seat, pressing a cloth to the cut on her forehead, saying nothing. "Where do you live?" Jamie asked. "I'll take you home." "No, can't go home. He knows where I live." "Who knows?" She looked at him, seemed to be deciding something. "Then my CFO, Marcus Delacroix. I found evidence he's embezzling from my company. $75 million. I confronted him tonight. I think he tried to kill me." "Did he tamper with your car?" "I don't know, maybe. The brakes didn't work right. The steering pulled. I barely made it to the hospital before I crashed." Jamie's hands tightened on the wheel. This was bigger than he thought. Corporate conspiracy. Attempted murder. He should take her to the police. But she was right. If her CFO was willing to kill her, he had resources. Money. Power. The police would ask questions, start an investigation, and during all that time she'd be exposed. Vulnerable. "I have a small apartment," Jamie heard himself say. "East Charlotte. Not fancy, but it's off the radar. No one would think to look for a CEO there. You can stay tonight." Figure out next steps in the morning. Kate studied him in the dim light from the dashboard. Why are you helping me? You don't know me. You're hurt. Someone's trying to kill you. What else would I do? She didn't have an answer for that. They drove through the hurricane. The streets were flooding. Several times Jamie had to detour around water that was too deep to risk. The 10-minute drive took 30. When they finally pulled up to his apartment building, Kate looked at it like she'd landed on another planet. Small, old, working class. So far from her world, it might as well be another country. I know it's not what you're used to, Jamie started. It's perfect, she interrupted. No one would ever look for me here. He helped her out of the truck. They climbed the stairs to the third floor, both soaked through. Unit C, Jamie unlocked the door. Kate stepped inside. The apartment was small but immaculate. Photos on the walls, a man in military uniform, a woman holding a baby family portraits, modest furniture. Everything clean and organized with military precision. And standing in the middle of the living room wearing a nightgown and rubbing her eyes was Lily. Daddy, Jamie's heart sank. He'd hoped Lily would be asleep, that he could deal with this situation without involving his daughter. But Mrs. Patterson was standing there too, arms crossed, worry written all over her face. Jamie Washington. What on earth? She stopped when she saw Kate, saw the blood, the torn clothes. Her expression shifted from concern to protective. Lord have mercy. Baby, are you all right? I'm fine, Mrs. P. This is Catherine. Her car crashed in the storm. She needs help. Mrs. Patterson was already in motion. Get that child out of those wet clothes before she catches pneumonia. I'll make tea. But Lily was staring at Kate with wide eyes. Are you hurt? Kate knelt down, bringing herself to eye level with the little girl. A little bit, but your daddy saved me. He's very brave. My daddy saves everybody, Lily said matter-of-factly. That's what he does. Something in Kate's expression cracked. She looked at this 8-year-old girl in a nightgown in this tiny apartment, looking at her eyes with absolute trust and certainty that he was a hero. Yeah, Kate said softly. I'm starting to see that. Mrs. Patterson handed Kate a towel and pointed toward the bathroom. There's clean clothes in there. Probably too big, but better than nothing. You go change. I'll check that cut on your head. After Kate disappeared into the bathroom, Mrs. Patterson rounded on Jamie. Who is she really? Exactly who I said. Someone who needed help. And the blood car accident. In the hospital parking garage. Yes. And you brought her here, Jamie. What if she's dangerous? What if someone comes looking? No one's looking, Mrs. P. She's the victim, not the criminal. Mrs. Patterson studied his face, then shook her head. You've got that look. The same look you had when you brought home that stray dog when you were 12. The look that says you've adopted another lost soul. She needs help. What was I supposed to do? Call an ambulance. Call the police. Call anyone except take her to your home where your daughter sleeps. Jamie didn't have a good answer for that. Mrs. Patterson was right. This was reckless, dangerous, not the kind of decision a responsible single father made. But he'd looked into Kate's eyes and seen genuine fear, and he'd made a promise to himself a long time ago that he'd never turn his back on someone in need. Not if he had the power to help. I'll keep Lily safe, he said quietly. Always, you know that. Mrs. Patterson's expression softened. I know, baby. You're a good man. Too good sometimes. That's what worries me. Kate emerged from the bathroom wearing Sarah's old sweatpants and navy hoodie. They hung loose on her frame. Her blonde hair was damp, pulled back from her face. The cut on her forehead had stopped bleeding. Mrs. Patterson examined it with practiced efficiency. Not deep enough for stitches, but you'll have a nasty bruise, possible concussion. You need to stay awake for at least 4 hours. Standard protocol. I'll stay up with her, Jamie said. No, you won't. You've got to be up at 6 for your other job. Mrs. Patterson fixed him with a look. I'll stay. Make sure she doesn't sleep until it's safe. Mrs. P, you don't have to. Hush. Lily's already asleep in her room. I'll watch this one. You get some rest while you can. Jamie wanted to argue, but the truth was he was dead on his feet. The adrenaline from the rescue was wearing off and his body was sending urgent messages about sleep deprivation and injury and limits that even he couldn't ignore forever. Thank you, he said. After Mrs. Patterson shooed him toward his bedroom, Kate sat on the couch. Lily's drawing was still on the coffee table, the family portrait with the blank space. Kate picked it up. Your daughter drew this? Yeah, she's optimistic. She's lovely. How old? 8. And her mother, Jamie's expression went carefully blank. Died 3 years ago, car accident. Kate's hand went to her mouth. I'm so sorry. Not your fault, but Kate felt it anyway. This man had lost his wife, was raising his daughter alone, working 2 jobs, living in a tiny apartment, and still he'd stopped to save a stranger in a storm. She looked around the living room again, really looked. Saw the textbooks on the shelf, advanced trauma life support, emergency medicine procedures, anatomy and physiology. Those books, she said. Are they yours? Yeah. You were a medic. Corpsman, Navy, 10 years. Why'd you leave? Jamie was quiet for a long moment. Then got injured. Fallujah, 2014. IED took out my knee. They offered desk work, but Sarah was pregnant with Lily. Military life meant moving every 2 years, deployments. I wanted to be present for my daughter, so I got out. Do you regret it? Every time I can't pay a bill, yeah, he smiled sadly, but every time Lily hugs me, never. Kate felt something crack open in her chest. This man, this stranger who cleaned toilets for minimum wage and raised his daughter alone and still had the capacity to save people in hurricanes. I'll pay you, she said, for helping me, for the clothes, for no. Jamie's voice was firm. I didn't do it for money, but I want to be someone. I'm sure you do, and I appreciate the thought, but if you give me money, it changes what this is. It makes it a transaction. And this isn't that. This is just one person helping another person because that's what we're supposed to do. Kate stared at him. In her world, everything was a transaction. Every favor had a price. Every kindness expected payment. This man lived in a different world, one she didn't recognize but desperately wanted to understand. Thank you, she said finally, for everything. Jamie nodded. Get some rest. Well, not rest, particularly. Stay awake for Mrs. P, but you're safe here. I promise. He disappeared into his bedroom. Kate sat on the couch with Mrs. Patterson, who made tea and small talk, and asked gentle questions that Kate answered in fragments. Outside, the hurricane raged. Inside, a CEO worth $850 million sat in a janitor's apartment and felt safer than she had in years. Morning arrived with unexpected sunlight. Kate woke on Jamie's couch, quilts piled on her warm and heavy. Her head ached, but the fog had cleared. She could think straight now. The apartment smelled like coffee and something burning. Voices from the kitchen. A child's laughter. A man's gentle correction. Kate sat up slowly, testing her body for damage. Bruises everywhere. Her ribs screamed when she moved. But nothing broken. Nothing that wouldn't heal. She stood wrapped, one of the quilts around her shoulders, and walked toward the kitchen. The scene stopped her in the doorway. Jamie stood at the stove, spatula in hand, focused on a griddle covered in pancakes. He wore jeans and a faded t-shirt. His daughter Lily sat on a chair beside him, both of them wearing matching aprons that said, "Kiss the cook." "Daddy, that one's definitely burning." "No, see, it's golden brown." "It's black." "That's advanced golden brown." Lily giggled. The sound was pure and uncomplicated, the sound of a child who felt safe in her world. Then she saw Kate. "You're awake. Daddy said we had to be quiet so you could sleep, but I wanted to wake you up because we're making pancakes." Jamie turned. His expression shifted when he saw Kate standing there, concern mixed with something else. Relief, maybe, that she'd made it through the night without complications. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Like I got hit by a truck, but alive, thanks to you." "Coffee's ready. Mugs are in the cabinet above the sink." Kate poured herself a cup. The mug was chipped, but the coffee was strong and hot. She wrapped her hands around it, letting the warmth seep into her palms. "Can you help Miss Kate?" Lily asked. "Daddy's not very good at pancakes." "I heard that." "It's true." Kate found herself smiling. When was the last time she'd smiled first thing in the morning? When was the last time she'd been in a kitchen that felt like this, lived in, loved in, real? "I've never actually made pancakes," Kate admitted. Both Jamie and Lily stared at her. "Never." Lily's eyes were huge. "Not even once." "I have a chef, or I did, but usually I just ordered breakfast." That's so sad, Lily said with the brutal honesty of 8-year-olds everywhere. Jamie handed Kate the spatula. Here, first lesson. Wait for the bubbles. When you see them pop and the edges look dry, that's when you flip. He positioned himself behind her, guiding her hand with his chest pressed against her back, his breath warm on her neck. The kitchen suddenly felt very small and very warm. Kate tried to focus on the pancakes, watched the batter bubble, slid the spatula under the first one, flipped. It landed perfectly. I did it, Lily clapped. You're better than Daddy already. Hey now, I taught her that move. They worked together assembling a stack of pancakes, some burnt, some perfect, all of them made with more care than anything Kate had eaten in years. Lily set the table with mismatched plates and forks. Jamie poured orange juice into plastic cups with cartoon characters on them. They sat together, the three of them, like a family. Lily talked nonstop, school gossip, her best friend Emma who could do a cartwheel, the spelling test she'd aced, the field trip on Friday that she was so excited about she could barely sit still. Kate found herself relaxing, laughing, participating in this small domestic moment that felt more real than any boardroom meeting or investor dinner she'd attended in the past decade. Then Lily asked the question that shattered the illusion. Are you my daddy's girlfriend? Kate choked on her orange juice. Jamie's hand froze halfway to his mouth. Lily Bean, Miss Kate is just a friend, someone who needed help. But she's pretty and you're smiling. You don't smile at ladies usually. That's because I don't usually have ladies in the apartment who aren't Mrs. Patterson. Exactly. So maybe, Lily, Jamie's voice was gentle but firm. Miss Kate has her own life, her own home. She's just staying here until it's safe for her to go back. That's all. Lily looked between them. Her 8-year-old brain was clearly doing calculations that made Kate uncomfortable because they weren't entirely wrong. There was something between her and Jamie. Chemistry, recognition. Two people who saw each other in a way that felt significant. But it was too soon, too complicated, too impossible. Kate was a CEO. Jamie was a janitor. Their worlds didn't overlap except in crisis. Once this crisis passed, she'd go back to her life and he'd go back to his. And this strange interlude would become a story they told separately. Wouldn't it? After breakfast, Jamie cleared the dishes. Kate tried to help, but he waved her off. You're recovering. Rest. I've rested enough. Let me do something. So they washed dishes together. Kate washing, Jamie drying. Lily had disappeared into her room to play, leaving them alone in the kitchen with soap bubbles and comfortable silence. I need to figure out what to do, Kate said finally. About Marcus, about the company. I can't hide here forever. What do you want to do? Go to the police. Show them the evidence, except the evidence was in my laptop and my briefcase, both burned in the car. You didn't back it up. I did. Cloud storage. But accessing it requires my phone, and my phone is dead. Jamie thought for a moment. We can get you a new phone, burner. Pay cash. No one can trace it. You've thought about this a lot. Military training, operational security, it becomes habit. Kate studied him, this man who was so much more than what the world saw. What did you do in the Navy, really? Jamie's hand stilled in the dish towel. I was a corpsman, field medic, attached to a Marine unit. We went places, saw things, did things that don't make sense outside the context of war. Did you lose people? Yeah, too many. And I saved some too. You do the math on which number matters more, and you come up empty every time because loss always weighs heavier. Kate wanted to touch him, comfort him, but the distance between them, physical and metaphorical, felt too vast to cross. Your wife, she said carefully. What was she like? Jamie's expression softened. Sarah was light. That's the best way to describe her. She made everything brighter just by being in the room. She laughed at my terrible jokes. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. She was the best mother Lily could have asked for. How did you meet? Hospital in San Diego. I was stationed there. She was a nurse. I came in with a training injury, dislocated shoulder. She reset it. We started talking. Never stopped. Do you still love her? The question came out before Kate could stop it. Too personal, too intimate, but Jamie didn't seem offended. I'll always love her. She gave me Lily. She gave me 10 years of happiness. But she's gone, and I'm still here. Still have to live. Still have to be present for our daughter. So I carry the love, but I can't let it turn into a cage that keeps me from moving forward. Have you moved forward? Jamie looked at her, really looked. I'm starting to think maybe I have, or at least maybe I'm ready to try. The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility, with the beginning of something neither of them was ready to name. Then Lily called from the other room, "Daddy, can Miss Kate see my drawings?" The spell broke, Jamie smiled. Duty calls. Lily's room was an explosion of color and creativity. Drawings covered every surface, stick figures holding hands, houses with smoke coming from chimneys, rainbows and star and hearts. And in the center of her desk, the family portrait Kate had seen last night. 3 figures, the blank space where a person should be. "This one's my favorite," Lily said, picking it up. "I drew it for you, Daddy. See? That's me, that's you, and that's the space for someone new." Jamie's throat worked. "Lily Bean, I know you said we're fine, just us, but wouldn't it be nice to have someone else? Someone who could help with pancakes and read bedtime stories and be there when you're at work." Kate felt her chest tighten. This little girl, this beautiful, hopeful, wise little girl who just wanted her family to be whole again. "How will you know who fits?" Kate asked gently. Lily looked at her drawing, then at Kate, then at her father. "I think you just know, like when you meet someone and they make everything feel right. Like they were missing and now they're here." Out of the mouths of babes, Jamie's phone rang, shattering the moment. He checked the caller ID. His expression shifted to something professional, distant. "I have to take this. It's my supervisor at the hospital." He stepped out into the hallway. Kate heard his voice muffled through the door, calm, respectful, the voice of someone who knew his place in the hierarchy. When he came back, his face was troubled. "They need me to come in. Emergency repairs, water damage from the storm. They're calling in everyone available." "How long?" 4, maybe 5 hours. "I'm sorry, I don't want to leave you alone, but..." "Go, I'll be fine. Lily and I can keep each other company." Jamie looked uncertain. "Mrs. Patterson can come over." "We don't need a babysitter. We're 2 capable females, we'll manage." Lily bounced on her toes. "Can we make cookies, Miss Kate? I know how." Jamie looked between them, then nodded slowly. "Okay, but keep the door locked. Don't answer if anyone knocks. Don't go outside. And call me if anything seems wrong, anything at all." "We'll be fine," Kate repeated. After Jamie left, Kate and Lily were alone in the small apartment. The silence felt different now, more intimate. 2 people who were strangers yesterday, but something more today. "Want to help me with my art project?" Lily asked. "It's for school. We have to make a collage about family." "Sure." They spread out on the living room floor, construction paper and magazines and glue sticks and scissors. Lily explained her vision, a collage that showed what family meant to her. "It's not just blood," Lily said with the wisdom of someone who'd lost a parent too young. "Miss Patterson says family is who shows up, who stays, who loves you even when it's hard." Kate helped her cut out pictures, a house, a dinner table, people holding hands, simple images that represented complex truths. "Do you have family, Miss Kate?" "Not really. My mother left when I was little. My father died 5 years ago. I have a brother, but we're not close." "That's sad. Everyone needs family." "I have my company, my employees." Lily looked at her with an expression far too mature for 8 years old. "That's not the same." "No, it's not." They worked in silence for a while. Then Lily asked, "Why did the bad man try to hurt you?" Kate had wondered when this question would come. Lily was smart. She'd heard enough last night to know something was wrong. "Someone at my company was stealing money. I found out. Now he wants to stop me from telling anyone." "That's not fair." "Stealing is wrong. We learned that in kindergarten." "Adults forget sometimes. They think the rules don't apply to them if they have enough money or power." "My daddy says rules apply to everyone. That's what makes them rules." "Your daddy is a good man." "The best man," Lily said with absolute certainty. "He works so hard, 2 jobs. He's always tired, but he never says no when I need him. He makes me feel safe." "You're lucky to have him." I know. Lily glued a picture of a son to her collage. I think you're good for him. What makes you say that? He smiles different when you're around. Like he forgot how for a long time and now he's remembering. Kate's chest tightened. This little girl saw too much, understood too much. Or maybe she just understood exactly the right things. They finished the collage. It was beautiful, chaotic and colorful and full of hope. Then Lily showed Kate the rest of her drawings, page after page of families, stick figures holding hands, houses with yards, dogs and cats and siblings. You draw a lot of families, Kate observed. I miss having one, a real one. It's just me and Daddy and he's amazing, but sometimes I want more. Is that bad? No, sweetheart, that's human. Do you want more too? The question hit harder than it should have. Did she, Kate, had spent her entire adult life building a company, chasing success, accumulating wealth. She had everything society said she should want, and she'd never felt more alone. Yeah, Kate said quietly. I think I do. Lily smiled. Then maybe you should stay with us. Then nobody would be lonely. If only it were that simple. If only wanting something was enough to make it possible. Around noon, Kate's phone, the cracked one she'd salvaged from the crash, buzzed to life. She'd left it plugged into Jamie's charger, hoping against hope. The screen flickered, barely functional but alive. 15 missed calls, all from Marcus. And a text message that made Kate's blood run cold. I know you survived. I know you were hiding, but you can't hide forever. Come back and we can work this out. Or stay hidden and watch everything you love burn. Kate's hands shook. He was threatening her. Openly now. No more pretense of civility or corporate politics. She opened her email app, pulled up the cloud storage where she'd backed up all the evidence. Transaction records, offshore accounts, emails proving Marcus had been embezzling for years. Everything she needed to destroy him, but also everything he needed to justify killing her. Another text came through. Your brother called me, said you weren't answering your phone. He's worried. Should I tell him you're dead? Would be easier than explaining why you disappeared. Kate's stomach turned. David, her half-brother. They weren't close, but he didn't deserve to think she was dead. She called him. He answered on the first ring. Katie, Jesus Christ. Where are you? Marcus said. Your car was found burned out on the highway. The police are calling it a possible homicide. They think, I'm alive, David. I'm fine. Well, not fine, but alive. Where are you? I can't tell you. Not yet. It's not safe. What the hell is going on? Marcus is acting strange. The board is in chaos. Your office has been sealed by police. Katie, what did you find? Kate told him. All of it. The embezzlement, the evidence, Marcus's threats, the car crash that definitely wasn't an accident. David was silent for a long time. Then, come stay with me. I'll hire security. We'll go to the FBI together. You have kids, David, a wife. I won't bring this danger to your door. So where are you, Chip? Somewhere safe, somewhere he'd never think to look. With who? Kate looked at Lily, who was coloring at the kitchen table, humming to herself. This little girl who'd welcomed a stranger into her home with open arms. With good people, Kate said. The best people I've ever met. After she hung up, Kate felt the walls closing in. She couldn't stay here indefinitely. It wasn't fair to Jamie. Wasn't safe for Lily. Marcus was looking for her. Eventually, he'd expand his search. Eventually, he'd find her. She needed a plan. A real one. Not just hiding, but fighting back. Kate opened her laptop files on her phone. Downloaded everything to a flash drive she found in Jamie's desk. Then she called her lawyer. Stephen Harper. Trusted. Competent. One of the few people in her world she knew wasn't connected to Marcus. Stephen, it's Kate. Kate, my God, everyone thinks you're dead. Your car is exactly what it looks like. Someone tried to kill me. I survived. Now I need your help. She explained the situation, emailed him the evidence files, gave him instructions for what to do next. File emergency injunctions, freeze Marcus's accounts, notify the SEC and FBI, and Stephen, do it fast. Before he realizes I'm still alive and coming for him. Kate, you need police protection. I have protection. Just do your job. I'll do mine. She hung up. felt the weight of decisions settling on her shoulders. This was war now, corporate warfare, the kind that destroyed reputations and ended careers and sometimes ended lives. But she'd been running her father's company for 8 years. She knew how to fight, and now she had something worth fighting for. Not just the company, not just her father's legacy, but the possibility of a different life. One with burnt pancakes and family drawings and a man who made her feel seen. When Jamie came home at 3, he looked exhausted, covered in dirt and sweat, his limp more pronounced than usual. Kate had made sandwiches, nothing fancy, just what she could find in his nearly empty refrigerator. He ate standing at the counter, too tired to sit. "How bad was it?" Kate asked. "Water damage in 3 floors. Took us 5 hours to clean up and do temporary repairs. Still have more work tomorrow. You should rest." "Can't. I pick up Lily from aftercare in 10 minutes, then homework, then dinner, then my night shift starts at 6. Kate stared at him. "You're going to work tonight after 5 hours of emergency repairs. Bills don't pay themselves." "Jamie, you're going to collapse." "I'm fine. I've done worse. 48-hour combat ops. This is nothing." But it wasn't nothing. Kate could see the exhaustion in every line of his body, the way he favored his bad leg, the way his shoulders hunched with pain he wouldn't acknowledge. "I'm coming with you," she said suddenly. "What?" "To pick up Lily, then to your night shift. You shouldn't be alone if you're this tired, and I need to get out of this apartment before I lose my mind." Jamie opened his mouth to argue, then seemed to realize he didn't have the energy. "Okay, but stay in the truck. Don't let anyone see you." They picked up Lily together. The little girl's face lit up when she saw both of them. "Are you coming to dinner too, Miss Kate?" "If that's okay with your dad." "More than okay, maybe you can help with homework. Daddy's terrible at math." "I am not." "You are too. Remember when you got my fractions wrong?" Jamie looked at Kate. "She's not wrong. Math was never my strong suit." At the apartment, Kate helped Lily with homework, while Jamie made dinner spaghetti, one of apparently 5 things he could cook without burning. They ate together, cleaned up together, the rhythm of domestic life that felt foreign and familiar at the same time. Then Jamie left for his night shift. Mrs. Patterson arrived to watch Lily, and Kate made a decision. She called a car service, gave them an address. Then she dressed in the most anonymous clothes she could find in Jamie's closet, dark jeans, a hoodie, a baseball cap. "Where are you going?" Mrs. Patterson asked. "To finish what I started." "Child, that man saved your life. Don't throw it away by being reckless." "I'm not being reckless. I'm being strategic. Marcus thinks I'm dead or hiding. He's not expecting me to go on offense." "And what does Jamie think about this plan?" Kate smiled. "He doesn't know. And I'd appreciate if you didn't tell him until I'm already gone." Mrs. Patterson shook her head. "You're as stubborn as he is. Lord help you both." The car took Kate to Sterling Biotech headquarters. After midnight, the building was dark except for security lights. She used her executive key card. Marcus wouldn't have thought to deactivate it yet if he really believed she was dead. The card worked. Kate slipped inside. She knew this building better than anywhere else in the world. Her father had built it. She'd spent her entire adult life here. Every hallway was familiar territory. She took the stairs to the executive floor, avoided the elevator, too visible, too traceable. Her office was exactly as she'd left it. Papers scattered, coffee cups still on the desk, her life frozen in the moment before everything changed. Kate booted up her desktop computer. Accessed files Marcus thought were destroyed, downloaded everything to multiple flash drives. Then she went to her father's old office, the one that had been sealed since his death, the one Marcus had insisted should remain a memorial. Kate had never questioned it before. Now she wondered what he'd been hiding. She picked the lock, a skill she'd learned from a rebellious phase in college that her father never knew about. Inside the office was exactly as her father had left it 5 years ago. His desk, his books, his coffee mug with "World's Best Dad" that she'd given him when she was 12. Kate's throat closed. She'd been so busy being angry at him for dying for leaving her alone that she'd never processed the grief. She started searching, methodically, looking for anything Marcus might have wanted hidden. She found it in the false bottom of a desk drawer, a folder, thick, labeled "Financial Irregularities, Confidential." Inside transaction records showing Marcus had been embezzling not 47 million, but 75 million over 6 years. Offshore account statements, emails between Marcus and shell company operators proving criminal intent, and a handwritten note from her father dated 3 days before his death. Katie, if you're reading this, something happened to me. Marcus Delacroix is stealing from the company. I confronted him today. He denied everything, but I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. The kind that makes desperate men do desperate things. I'm meeting with the board tomorrow to remove him. If I don't make it to that meeting, know this, I love you. I'm proud of you. Build something better than I did. Don't let my mistakes define your life. Dad. Kate's hands shook so badly the paper fluttered. Her father had known, had been murdered for knowing, and she'd spent 5 years thinking his death was natural. Random. Just bad luck. Marcus had killed him, poisoned him, made it look like a heart attack. And now he tried to kill her too. Rage flooded through Kate, pure and clarifying. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about justice for her father, for herself, for every person Marcus had hurt in his climb to power. She photographed every page, uploaded everything to secure cloud storage, emailed copies to her lawyer, to the FBI, to the SEC. Then she heard it. Footsteps in the hallway. Coming closer. Kate's heart hammered. She'd been so focused on the evidence she hadn't heard the elevator, hadn't heard security, hadn't heard the office door open. Marcus Delacroix stood there backlit by the hallway lights. He wore a suit even at 1 in the morning. Always professional, always composed. Except now. Now his face was twisted with fury. I knew you'd come here, he said. I knew you couldn't resist. Always so predictable, Kate, just like your father. Kate stood, held up her phone. I've already sent everything. The police have it. The FBI has it. Your offshore accounts are being frozen as we speak. It's over, Marcus. You think so? He stepped into the office, closed the door behind him. You think anyone will believe you? A CEO who faked her own death, who's clearly having a breakdown. By the time this reaches trial, I'll have spun it so thoroughly you'll look like the criminal. My father's autopsy will show exactly what it showed before. Heart attack, no autopsy, no investigation. Clean. Then I'll demand an exhumation, toxicology tests. The truth will come out. Marcus laughed. It was an ugly sound. The truth is your father was weak, past his prime. This company needed new leadership and he was too proud to step aside. So I helped him along. You murdered him. I liberated him. And this company. And myself. He moved closer. Just like I'm going to liberate the company from you. Kate backed toward the window. Trapped, no way out except through Marcus or a 42-story drop. Security's on my payroll, Marcus continued. No one's coming to help you. No one even knows you're here. This time, Kate, you actually will die. And it will look like suicide. Distraught CEO father's death anniversary approaching, jumped from his office window. Very tragic. He lunged. Kate dodged. Her self-defense training from college kicked in muscle memory, saved her from freezing. She swept his leg. He went down hard. She ran for the door, got it open before his hand closed on her ankle. She fell, hit the floor. Her ribs screamed where they were already bruised from the car crash. Marcus dragged her back. You should have stayed dead the first time. Would have been easier for everyone. Kate kicked, connected with his face, heard something crack, his nose. Blood poured. She scrambled to her feet, made it into the hallway, started running for the stairs. Behind her, Marcus was shouting into his phone, calling security, calling for backup. Kate hit the stairwell, started down. 42 floors, her legs burned, her lungs screamed, but adrenaline pushed her faster than she'd ever moved. 20 floors down, she heard the door above her slam open, footsteps, multiple sets, security, 10 floors. Her phone buzzed. Jamie calling. She didn't answer, couldn't stop. Ground floor. Kate burst through the emergency exit into the parking garage, sprinted for the street. The city was dark at this hour, empty, no witnesses, no help. A car was waiting. Kate recognized it. Stephen, her lawyer. He'd known she'd do something stupid and come prepared. She threw herself into the passenger seat. Drive now. Stephen didn't ask questions, just floored it. Behind them, Marcus and 3 security guards burst from the building. Too late. Kate looked back through the rear window, made eye contact with Marcus. Even from this distance, she could see his rage, his promise that this wasn't over. Where to? Stephen asked. Kate gave him Jamie's address, the only safe place she knew. When they arrived, Jamie was waiting outside the building. He'd obviously gotten her missed call and put together what happened. His expression was thunder and worry and relief all mixed together. Kate got out of the car, stood in front of him, waited for the lecture. Instead, he pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. Don't ever do that again, he said into her hair. Don't ever scare me like that again. I had to. I had to get the evidence. You almost got yourself killed. But I didn't. I got what I needed. Everything. Proof of everything Marcus did. Jamie pulled back, looked at her face, saw the determination there. Okay, then what's next? Now we fight back. For real, all in. He nodded. Then we fight. Together. That word again. Together. Kate was starting to understand what it meant. Not just proclamation, but partnership. Not just shared space, but shared purpose. They went upstairs. Mrs. Patterson was still there looking worried but unsurprised. Did you get what you needed, child? Yes, ma'am. Good. Then maybe now you can rest. Both of you. Lord knows you need it. But neither Kate nor Jamie could rest yet. They sat at his kitchen table, spread out everything, documents, flash drives, notes. Built a case against Marcus Delacroix that would stand up in any court. At 3 in the morning, exhaustion finally caught up with them. You should sleep, Jamie said. Real sleep. You're safe now. Are we? Marcus knows I'm alive. He'll keep coming. Let him come. I've faced worse than corporate criminals. We'll handle it. Kate looked at this man, this janitor who spoke like a warrior, who worked 2 jobs and raised a daughter alone and still had the capacity to protect a stranger. Why are you doing this? She asked. Why risk everything for me? Jamie was quiet for a long moment. Then, because 3 days ago, I watched you run through a parking garage like you were being chased by demons. And I saw something in your eyes. Terror, but also determination. You were scared, but you weren't giving up. That kind of strength is rare, worth protecting. That's not a reason. That's an observation. Maybe I don't have a good reason. Maybe I just know that sometimes you meet someone and they change the shape of your life. Crack open something you thought was sealed. Make you remember you're more than your circumstances. I've done that for you. In 3 days, yeah, you've reminded me I'm more than just Lily's dad or a janitor or a guy with a bum leg. You see me, really see me, and that's a gift. Kate's throat closed. You see me too, not the CEO, not the money, just me. Yeah, I do. They sat in silence, the space between them charged with possibility. Then Jamie stood. You take my bed, I'll sleep on the couch. I can take the couch. Kate, you just fought off a murderer. You're bruised and exhausted. Take the bed. That's not a request. She was too tired to argue. In Jamie's bedroom, Kate lay down in sheets that smelled like him. Clean laundry and something indefinable. Something masculine and safe. She closed her eyes, let exhaustion pull her under, and dreamed of pancakes and family drawings and a man who made her feel like coming home. Kate woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar curtains and the sound of a child crying. She sat up disoriented. Jamie's bedroom. Right. She'd slept in his bed while he took the couch. Her body ached everywhere, bruises from the crash muscles sore from fighting Marcus' exhaustion that went bone deep. But Lily was crying. That sound cut through everything else. Kate pulled on the borrowed clothes and opened the door. The scene in the living room made her stomach drop. Lily sat on the couch, clutching her stuffed bunny, tears streaming down her face. Mrs. Patterson stood nearby, looking grim, and Jamie was on the phone, his expression carved from stone. I understand. Yes, we'll be there. 2 o'clock. Yes. He hung up, saw Kate standing in the doorway. His eyes were haunted. What happened? Kate asked. That was Child Protective Services. Someone filed a complaint. They're coming to inspect the apartment this afternoon. If they don't like what they see, they'll take Lily. The room spun. Kate grabbed the door frame for support. Marcus, he did this. He's going after Lily to get to me. Probably. The complaint cited inappropriate persons in the home and unsafe living conditions. Both lies, but CPS has to investigate every complaint. Lily's sobs got louder. Are they going to take me away from Daddy? Jamie crossed the room in 3 strides, scooped his daughter into his arms. No, baby. No one's taking you anywhere. I promise. But you promised Mommy wouldn't die, and she did anyway. The words hit like a physical blow. Jamie's face crumpled for just a second before he locked it down. Military discipline. Don't let the enemy see you break. That's different, Lily Bean. That was an accident. This is people making trouble, but we're going to handle it. Okay, you trust Daddy. Lily nodded against his chest, but her body still shook with sobs. Kate felt rage building, pure and incandescent. Marcus wasn't just threatening her anymore. He was weaponizing a child, using CPS as a tool to hurt an innocent little girl because her father had dared to help someone in need. What do we need to do? Kate asked, her voice steady despite the fury underneath. To prepare for the inspection. Mrs. Patterson rattled off a list. Childproof the outlets, make sure there's food in the fridge, clean sheets, smoke detectors working, first aid kits stocked. Lily's room needs to be safe and age appropriate. Jamie needs pay stubs to prove income. Proof of school enrollment. Medical records showing Lily's up to date on vaccines and checkups. I have most of that, Jamie said. But the childproofing, I never got around to it. Lily's 8, old enough to know not to stick things in outlets. CPS doesn't care about logic, they care about checklist compliance. Kate pulled out her phone and called Stephen Herberwasser, her lawyer. I need you to do something else. Now, find the best family law attorney in Charlotte, someone who specializes in CPS defense. Money's no object. I need them at this address by 1:30. Kate, what's going on? Marcus is going after a child to get to me. I'm not letting that happen. She hung up, turned to Jamie. Give me a list of everything this apartment needs. I'm going shopping. Kate, you can't. You're supposed to be hiding. I'll wear a disguise, sunglasses and a hat. I'll be fine. But Lily needs this apartment to pass inspection, and we have, she checked the clock, 5 hours to make that happen. Jamie looked like he wanted to argue, but desperation won. Okay, thank you. Kate borrowed more of Sarah's clothes, added sunglasses and a baseball cap, looked at herself in the mirror, and barely recognized the woman staring back. 3 days ago, she'd been a CEO in designer suits. Now she was wearing a dead woman's sweatpants and about to buy child-proofing supplies for a family that wasn't hers. And somehow this felt more real than anything in her old life. She took Jamie's truck, drove to the nearest home improvement store, filled a cart with outlet covers, cabinet locks, smoke detectors, first aid supplies, fire extinguisher, then to the grocery store. Filled another cart with actual food, not just ramen and frozen dinners, but fresh vegetables, fruit, milk, bread, chicken, things that said responsible parent feeds their child properly. At checkout, Kate paid cash, $800 total, more than Jamie probably spent on groceries in a month. But this wasn't about money. This was about making sure CPS had no ammunition. She loaded everything into the truck, started to drive back, then made one more stop. The toy store. She didn't know what she was doing. Just knew that Lily's room had looked sparse. Loved, but underfunded. A few stuffed animals and some art supplies, but nothing like what kids her age usually had. Kate bought books, art sets, educational games, a new comforter with stars that matched Lily's nightlight. Threw in a stuffed unicorn because every 8-year-old should have a unicorn. The cashier rang it up. Someone's birthday, something like that. Back at the apartment, Jamie and Mrs. Patterson had been cleaning. The place already looked better, but there was more to do. Kate started installing outlet covers. Jamie worked on smoke detectors. Mrs. Patterson organized the kitchen. They moved like a well-oiled machine. No wasted motion. Everyone focused on the mission. Lily helped where she could, putting away groceries, testing the smoke detectors, trying on the new comforter Kate had bought. Miss Kate, this is so pretty. Thank you. You're welcome, sweetheart. At 1:15, Jamie changed into clean clothes, pressed khakis and a button-down shirt. He looked uncomfortable. This wasn't who he was, all dressed up playing a part for the benefit of government officials who would judge him based on things that didn't matter. At 1:30, a woman in a professional suit arrived. Margaret Chen, the family law attorney Stephen had hired. She was 50-something, sharp-eyed, no nonsense. Mr. Washington, I've reviewed your case, or rather the lack thereof, since there shouldn't be a case. This complaint is clearly retaliatory harassment. We're going to make that very clear to CPS. Thank you for coming. Margaret's eyes landed on Kate. Recognition flickered. Catherine Sterling, I thought you were dead. Long story. Right now we need to focus on making sure Lily stays with her father. Agreed, but we should discuss your involvement. You're the inappropriate person mentioned in the complaint. Your presence here could hurt rather than help. Kate's chest tightened. Margaret was right. She was the liability. The reason Marcus had weaponized CPS in the first place. Then I'll leave. Go somewhere else until this is resolved. No, Jamie's voice was firm. You're not leaving. You're part of this now, for better or worse. Jamie, if I hurt your chances, you won't, because we're going to tell the truth. That you were in a car accident. That I helped you. That's what decent people do. If CPS has a problem with basic human kindness, that says more about them than us. Margaret looked between them. Something calculating in her expression. Actually, that could work. Frame it as temporary emergency housing for someone in crisis. Demonstrates Mr. Washington's character. Shows Lily is exposed to positive examples of helping others. So Kate stays, Jamie said. Not a question, a statement. Kate stays, but we need to establish clear boundaries. Separate sleeping arrangements. No indication of romantic involvement. Keep it professional. Too late for that, Kate thought. Whatever was happening between her and Jamie had stopped being professional the moment he carried her from a burning car. At exactly 2 o'clock, the doorbell rang. A woman in her 40s stood outside. Clipboard, stern expression. Government employee who'd seen too many bad situations and expected this to be another one. Mr. Washington, I'm Sandra Mills from Child Protective Services. Come in. Sandra entered with the air of someone conducting an inspection. Her eyes swept the apartment, cataloging everything. The new smoke detectors, the child-proofed outlets, the stocked fridge visible from the living room. Margaret stepped forward. Ms. Mills, I'm Margaret Chen, Mr. Washington's attorney. I've prepared documentation of his employment income and Lily's school records. You'll find everything in order. Sandra took the folder, flipped through it. Her expression gave nothing away. And who are you? She looked at Kate. Catherine Sterling. I was in a car accident Friday night. Mr. Washington saved my life and offered temporary shelter until I could make other arrangements. How long have you been staying here? 3 days. And what's your relationship to Mr. Washington? I'm a friend, someone who needed help. Sandra made notes. The complaint mentioned inappropriate persons in the home. Margaret jumped in. Ms. Sterling is a respected CEO recovering from a traumatic incident. There's nothing inappropriate about offering emergency housing to someone in crisis. That's called being a good Samaritan. We'll see. Sandra turned to Lily. Hi, sweetheart. Can I talk to you alone, just for a few minutes? Lily looked at her father. Jamie nodded, even though Kate could see it killed him to let his daughter go into a room alone with this stranger who had the power to destroy their family. Sandra and Lily went into Lily's bedroom, closed the door. The adults stood in the living room, waiting. Every second felt like an hour. Jamie's hands clenched at his sides. Mrs. Patterson clutched her purse. Kate wanted to touch him, offer comfort. But Margaret's warning echoed no indication of romantic involvement. So she stood apart, separate, even though everything in her screamed to close the distance. After 15 minutes that felt like 15 years, the bedroom door opened. Lily came out first. Her face was calm, not upset. That was something. Sandra followed, made more notes. Your daughter is well-adjusted, polite, shows no signs of neglect or abuse. She speaks highly of you, Mr. Washington. Jamie's shoulders dropped half an inch, relief barely contained. However, Sandra continued, and Jamie's tension snapped back. There are concerns about your work schedule. 2 jobs, night shifts. How much time do you actually spend with your daughter? Every moment I'm not working. I take her to school, Pick her up, help with homework, make dinner, bedtime routine. We spend weekends together. Just because I work doesn't mean I'm absent. Many single parents manage with one job. Many single parents don't have medical bills from combat injuries, don't have private school tuition because the public schools in this neighborhood aren't safe. I work two jobs because I have to, not because I want to. Margaret touched Jamie's arm, a warning to stay calm. Don't get defensive even when the questions are insulting. Sandra inspected the rest of the apartment. Lily's room passed, the kitchen passed, the bathroom passed. Everything was clean, safe, age-appropriate. Finally, Sandra closed her folder. I'm going to recommend continued custody with monthly check-ins for the next 6 months. However, I'm also recommending you consider reducing your work hours. Lily needs her father present, not just providing. Jamie's jaw worked. I understand. After Sandra left, the apartment erupted. Mrs. Patterson hugged Lily. Margaret congratulated Jamie. Kate stood back watching this family celebrate a victory that should never have been a battle in the first place. Then Lily pulled away from Mrs. Patterson and ran to Kate, threw her arms around Kate's waist. Thank you for the smoke detectors and the food and my new comforter. Daddy said you bought all that. Kate knelt down, eye level with this little girl who'd been through too much. You're welcome, sweetheart. I'm sorry this happened to you. It's not your fault. The bad man is trying to hurt you and Daddy got in the way. But Daddy's tough. He doesn't run from bullies. Out of the mouths of babes again. After Margaret left and Mrs. Patterson went home, it was just the three of them again. Jamie, Kate, and Lily. Lily wanted to celebrate. Can we have ice cream for dinner, please? Jamie laughed. Actual laughter, the first Kate had heard from him in days. How about dinner first, then ice cream? Deal. They made spaghetti together. Kate was getting better at the kitchen routine. She could boil water without burning it now. Progress. During dinner, Lily talked nonstop. The adrenaline from the CPS visit manifesting as hyperactivity. She told them about school, about her friends, about the field trip on Friday that she was so excited about. Miss Kate, you should come. Parents can volunteer. Well, you're not my parent, but you're my friend. Can friends come? Kate's throat closed. I'd love to, Lily, but I might not be here on Friday. I have to go back to my life eventually. Lily's face fell. But I don't want you to leave. I don't want to leave either, but we all have responsibilities. Holmes, can't you do your job from here? If only it were that simple. Kate's company was in crisis. Marcus was still out there plotting. Her board was probably in chaos. She had obligations, employees depending on her, investors expecting answers. But none of that felt important compared to this. Sitting at a cheap kitchen table with a single father and his daughter eating spaghetti that was slightly overcooked, feeling more at home than she ever had in her penthouse. After dinner, Jamie sent Lily to get ready for bed. Then he turned to Kate. We need to talk about what happens next. I know, I can't stay here forever. That's not what I meant. He ran a hand over his face. Exhausted. Sandra was right. I work too much. I'm barely present for Lily. But if I quit one job, we lose the apartment, lose her school. Everything I've been fighting to maintain falls apart. What if you didn't have to choose? Kate asked carefully. What do you mean? What if there was a way to give you financial stability without compromising your pride or independence? Would you consider it? Jamie's expression shuddered. If you're about to offer me money, I'm about to offer you a real one, at my company, chief of security, salary commensurate with your skills and experience, normal hours, benefits, everything you need to support Lily properly. Kate, I'm a janitor. You're a Navy corpsman with a decade of field experience. You have training in emergency medicine, tactical operations, threat assessment. You're overqualified for janitorial work. You took that job out of necessity, not because it's who you are. Jamie was silent, conflicted. Kate could see the war playing out on his face, pride versus practicality, independence versus what was best for Lily. Think about it, Kate continued. No pressure, but the offer stands. When this is over, when Marcus is dealt with, there's a place for you if you want it. Why would you do this? Kate took a breath. This was it, the moment of truth. Because you saved my life, because you took me in when you didn't have to, Because you're raising an incredible daughter alone and doing it with more grace than most people could manage. Because you see me as more than my net worth, and because she stopped. The next words were too big, too soon, too real. Because, Jamie prompted, because I think you might be the best man I've ever met, and I don't want to lose that. Lose you. When I go back to my world, I want you to come with me. Not as charity, not as obligation, but as equals, partners. The air between them crackled, charged with possibility and want and fear. Jamie stepped closer, close enough that Kate could feel the heat from his body. Partners, partners. And if I say yes, if I take this job, what does that make us? I don't know. We'd have to figure it out. Navigate the complications. Deal with people who will judge and gossip and assume the worst. I've faced worse than gossip. So have I. They stood there inches apart, not touching but wanting to. Then Lily called from her bedroom. Daddy, I'm ready for story time. The spell broke. Jamie smiled. Duty calls. Go, I'll clean up here. Kate washed dishes alone, listened to Jamie's voice drifting from Lily's room as he read a bedtime story. Some tale about dragons and princesses and happy endings. She wanted that, the happy ending, the family, the home that felt real instead of empty. But first she had to deal with Marcus, finish what she'd started, protect what mattered. Kate pulled out her phone, called Stephen. The evidence you sent went live an hour ago. FBI has opened an investigation. SEC froze Marcus's accounts. It's all over the news. Sterling Biotech in crisis. Your board is calling emergency meetings. Good, let them panic. They should have caught this years ago. Kate, you need to make a statement. Address the company, the investors, the public. You can't keep hiding. I'm not hiding. I'm strategizing. There's a difference. When are you coming back? Kate looked around Jamie's small apartment. The life she'd found here in just a few days. Soon, but not yet. I have something to take care of first. She hung up, made another call, this one to someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Jennifer, it's Kate Sterling. I need a favor. Jennifer Harding, Marcus's assistant for 8 years. The one person who'd seen everything but said nothing out of fear for her job, for her son's medical bills. Miss Sterling, I heard everyone thought you were dead. I'm very much alive, and I need you to do something. Something that will end Marcus's career but might cost you yours. Silence. Then my son starts chemotherapy next week. I can't afford to lose my insurance. You won't? I'll cover his treatment myself if needed. Every penny, for as long as it takes, but I need you to testify. Tell the truth about what you've seen. The embezzlement, the threats, everything. More silence, and Kate could hear Jennifer breathing, calculating, weighing her child's life against her conscience. Okay, yes, I'll do it. Not for the money, but because it's right, because I should have done it years ago. Thank you. I'll have my lawyer contact you. We'll protect you, I promise. After Jamie put Lily to bed, he found Kate on the couch, staring at her phone, planning her next move. She asleep? Kate asked. Finally, she was wired from the CPS visit. Jamie sat beside her, not touching, but close. What are you thinking about? How to end this? Marcus is wounded but not down. He'll regroup. Come at me at us from another angle. So we hit him first, harder. Kate looked at him, this janitor who thought like a soldier. You keep saying we, like this is your fight too. It became my fight when he went after Lily, when he weaponized a child to get what he wants. That crosses a line. I'm sorry, I never meant for you to get caught in the crossfire. I'm not sorry. Jamie turned to face her fully. These past 3 days have been case, danger, exhaustion, and they've also been the most alive I've felt since Sarah died. You woke something up in me, something I thought was gone. What's that? Purpose beyond just surviving, hope that there's more to life than 2 jobs and burnt pancakes and getting by on 4 hours of sleep. You make me want more, want better, not just for Lily, but for myself. Kate's chest tightened. I want that too, for both of us, a life that's bigger than what we've settled for. Then let's take it. Let's fight for it. Together. On that word again. Together. It was starting to feel like a promise. Jamie leaned in, Kate's breath caught. This was happening. Finally. His lips met hers, soft at first, tentative, asking permission. Kate answered by deepening the kiss. Her hand came up to his face. His hand found her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss turned urgent, hungry. 3 days of tension and want, impossibility pouring out in this moment. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. That was, Kate started. Yeah, we probably shouldn't. Probably not. CPS said no romantic involvement. CPS isn't here right now, Kate laughed. Actual laughter that felt foreign but good. You're trouble, Jamie Washington. Right back at you, Catherine Sterling. They kissed again, slower this time, savoring it. Then Kate pulled back. We should stop. Lily could wake up, and we have bigger problems to deal with first. You're right. But after, when this is over, after we figure out what this is, what we are, no more hiding, no more pretending this is just temporary. Jamie smiled. I'd like that. They sat together on the couch, Kate's head on Jamie's shoulder, his arm around her, comfortable silence, the kind that only comes when two people truly see each other. Kate's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I know where you are. I know about the janitor and his daughter. Walk away now or I'd destroy them both. You have 24 hours, M. Kate's blood ran cold. She showed Jamie the message. His expression hardened. Military mode activated. He's bluffing, trying to scare you into backing down. What if he's not? What if he really does know? What if coming here put you and Lily in danger? Then we deal with it, but we don't run. We don't let him win. Kate wanted to believe that, but fear clawed at her chest. She'd already brought CPS down on this family. What else would Marcus do? How far would he go? Another text, I can make the janitor lose his daughter permanently. I can make him lose everything. All you have to do is sign over CEO authority to me. Drop the investigation. Disappear. Everyone wins. Except everyone didn't win. Marcus would keep stealing, keep hurting people, keep getting away with murder. But if Kate didn't comply, he'd destroy Jamie, destroy Lily. Two innocent people who'd only tried to help. What do I do? Kate whispered. You fight. You don't negotiate with terrorists or corporate criminals. You fight back harder than they expect, even if it costs you everything. Jamie cupped her face, made her look at him. I've already lost it everything once, when Sarah died. I survived that. I'll survive this. But what I won't survive is watching you give up, watching you let a bully win because you're trying to protect me. I don't need protection. I need you to trust me. Trust us. Kate searched his eyes, found certainty there, strength, the same strength that had carried her from a burning car and welcomed her into his home and held his daughter when she cried. Okay, we fight. She texted back, no deal, see you in court. Then she made a series of calls, to Stephen, to the FBI, to a private security firm. By morning, Jamie's apartment would have surveillance, protection. Nothing Marcus could do without being caught on camera. But that didn't solve the larger problem. Marcus was desperate. Desperate people did desperate things. Kate needed to end this, decisively, publicly, in a way that left no room for Marcus to maneuver. I'm calling a press conference, she announced. Tomorrow morning at Sterling Biotech headquarters. I'm going public with everything. The embezzlement, my father's murder, Marcus's threats, all of it. That's dangerous. You'll be exposed. I'm already exposed. He knows where I am. Hiding isn't working, so I'm going on offense. I'm going to tell the world what he did. Let public pressure do what the legal system takes too long to accomplish. Jamie considered this, then nodded. Okay, but I'm coming with you. You're not walking into that building alone. Jamie, you have work. I'm calling in sick for both jobs. You're more important. Kate's throat closed. No one had ever said that to her before. No one had ever chosen her over their obligations. Thank you. They spent the rest of the night preparing. Kate wrote her statement. Jamie planned security logistics. Mrs. Patterson agreed to watch Lily. At dawn, they left the apartment. drove to Sterling Biotech in Kate's Range Rover that Stephen had retrieved from police impound. The building loomed against the morning sky, 42 stories of glass and steel. Kate's kingdom. Her prison. Media trucks already lined the street. News of the FBI investigation had leaked. Reporters were hungry for a statement. Investors were panicking. The board was demanding answers. Kate was about to give them all more than they bargained for. She and Jamie entered through the executive entrance. Security recognized Kate, let them pass without question. They took the elevator to the ground floor atrium where a podium had been set up. The room was packed. Media, employees, board members, and in the back, partially hidden behind a column, Marcus Delacroix. Their eyes met across the crowded room. His expression promised violence, promised that this wasn't over, that she'd regret this. Kate didn't flinch. She walked to the podium. Jamie stood beside her, visible, present, a statement of his own. The cameras flashed, questions shouted from all directions. Kate raised her hand, silence fell. My name is Catherine Sterling. I'm the CEO of Sterling Biotech. 4 days ago, someone tried to kill me. My car was run off the road. I barely survived. The same person who killed my father 5 years ago and made it look like a heart attack. Gasps. More flashes. Reporters scribbling notes. That person is Marcus Delacroix, my CFO. For 6 years, he's been embezzling from this company. $75 million. When my father discovered it, Marcus poisoned him. When I discovered it, Marcus tried to kill me too. Marcus moved from the back of the room, started toward the exit, but FBI agents blocked his path. They'd been waiting. Kate had made sure of it. Marcus Delacroix, you're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, and murder. Marcus spun, looked at Kate with pure hatred. You'll regret this. I'll destroy you. You already tried. You failed. They cuffed him, led him away. The cameras captured every second. Kate continued her statement, detailed the evidence, named Jennifer Harding as a witness, announced she was stepping back from day-to-day operations while the investigation proceeded, but maintaining CEO authority to ensure company stability. Then she did something no one expected. She introduced Jamie. This is James Washington. 3 days ago, he saved my life, pulled me from a burning car, gave me shelter when I had nowhere to go, protected me when I was hunted. He's a former Navy corpsman, a single father, a good man, and starting today, he's Sterling Biotech's new chief of security. Murmurs, questions, confusion. I'm telling you this because Marcus Delacroix tried to use Mr. Washington and his daughter as leverage against me. He filed false CPS complaints, threatened an innocent child. This is what corruption looks like. This is what happens when someone values power over people. Kate looked directly at the cameras. But it's also what happens when good people stand up, when they choose to help instead of hide, when they risk everything to do what's right. That's the company I want to build. One founded on integrity, on truth, on taking care of each other. She stepped back. Let the reporters shout their questions. Let the board members look shocked. Let the employees whisper among themselves. She'd done it, gone public, burned the ships behind her. There was no going back now. Jamie touched her elbow. You okay? Yeah, I am. They left the building together, walked through the gauntlet of cameras, got into the Range Rover, drove away from Sterling Biotech, from Kate's old life, towards something new. Where to? Jamie asked. Kate thought about it. She could go back to her penthouse, reclaim her life, step back into the role of powerful CEO as if nothing had changed. But everything had changed. She'd changed. Your apartment, if that's okay. I'd like to be there when Lily gets home from school. Help her with homework, burn some pancakes, be part of your life. Jamie smiled, the real smile, the one that transformed his face. I'd like that too. The hardest goodbye. They drove in comfortable silence. Kate's phone rang constantly. Board members, investors, media. She ignored them all. When they got to the apartment, Mrs. Patterson had lunch waiting, sandwiches and sweet tea. She took one look at Kate's face and nodded. You did good, child. Real good. That man had it coming. Thank you for believing in me, Mrs. P. Wasn't about belief, was about facts. And the fact is you're good people, both of you. Now sit down and eat. You look like you haven't slept in a week. At 3 o'clock, they picked up Lily from school. The little girl's face lit up when she saw both of them. Miss Kate, you came. I wouldn't miss it. Lily chattered the whole drive home about her day. Art class, recess, the spelling bee she'd won. Normal 8-year-old concerns. No mention of CPS or danger or the chaos of the adult world. Back at the apartment, Kate helped Lily with homework while Jamie made dinner. The rhythm was becoming familiar, natural, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. After dinner, Lily asked Kate to read her a bedtime story. Kate's throat closed. This was parent territory. Intimate. Special. Are you sure your dad usually does this? Daddy reads. You read. Together. So they did. Jamie and Kate sat on either side of Lily's bed, trading off pages, doing the voices, making her laugh. When the story ended, Lily yawned. This is nice, like a real family. It is nice, Kate agreed. Are you going to stay forever? Kate looked at Jamie. He looked back. Question in his eyes. Hope. Fear. Possibility. But Kate knew the truth. She couldn't stay. Not yet. Not until she'd cleaned up the mess at Sterling Biotech. Not until she was sure Marcus's reach was truly neutralized. Not until she could come back to this family as a whole person, not a fugitive. I don't know about forever, Kate said carefully, but I need to go back to my company for a while. Fix what's broken. Make sure everyone is safe. Then, she took a breath, then maybe we can talk about what comes next. Lily's face fell. But I want you here now. I know, sweetheart. I want that too. But sometimes grown-ups have responsibilities that can't wait. People depending on them. Promises to keep. Will you come back? Kate's eyes met Jamie's. Saw the same question there. The same fear that once she left this fragile thing they'd built would shatter. Yes, I'll come back. I promise. Cross your heart. Cross my heart. Lily seemed to accept this. She closed her eyes, drifted off with both of them beside her. In the living room later, Kate and Jamie sat together on the couch, the air between them heavy with things unsaid. When home? Jamie asked quietly. Tomorrow, I need to address the board. Start rebuilding trust. Make sure Marcus's accomplices are rooted out. It could take weeks, maybe months. And then I come back, to you, to Lily, to this. Well, Kate gestured around the small apartment. If you'll have me. Jamie took her hand. Kate, I'm a janitor who just got offered he's not sure he's qualified for. I live in a tiny apartment with a daughter who needs a mother more than she'll admit. I can't give you the life you're used to. I don't want the life I'm used to. It was empty, cold, lonely.